I believe this congregation is on the cusp of something big, to become something more than you have been, and you've been a lot. But I sense in so many ways there are big things afoot here. And as they used to say long ago, I feel the Spirit moving in this congregation in more ways than not. And I think as this year unfolds, you will see in many ways why what I am saying is true. But this whole wonderful, mysterious, marvelous thing we call a congregation and everything it does would not be possible whatsoever if it were not for what I call the co-ministry of a congregation. And by that I mean the minister and the staff on the one hand and lay leaders on the other hand join together and work together for things that they really value. And it is a wondrous thing to see the talents and the passion of people rise up and express themselves in so many ways. As a teacher for social justice, for the RE program, and in so many other ways. Now, today, as we launch a new year, we want to offer up special blessings to those volunteers who serve every week to make this possible. And there's a lot of people involved in that, believe me. This is not to diminish all the great work that's done by so many in social justice and RE and on that happen here, but it is to give a special claim of appreciation to those who do this work and who work behind the scenes. Chrissy, could you join me in a spirit of prayer as I say, blessed are those who take seriously the bonds of community, who regularly join in celebration and learning, who come as much to minister as to be ministered unto. As we enter into a new church year, a church laden with both excitement and uncertainty, may we feel blessed by those who serve. We are deeply grateful for those who lead us, those who teach and guide us, those who comfort us. Let us remember always to express the appreciation we feel for the tasks they undertake. May their contributions in turn inspire us to offer up our own gifts for the benefit of those gathered here and those we may never meet. Gift building upon gift, talent building upon talent. Let us always remember that these are the blocks that form the foundation of our beloved community. Blessed be, and amen. I'll use this pulpit mic rather than my portable. I am wildly, almost uncontrollably optimistic about the future of this church for many reasons. And part of those reasons is because I have worked so closely with so many people who are leaders of this congregation, and I've seen their dedication. And it is a marvelous thing, and I've seen their devotion and their skill. So I can say loudly and strongly and firmly that this church is led by people who care deeply about this place and about your future. There's a lot of good things happening here. Some of them have not yet become visible, but they will. One thing that's great and will soon become visible is that you're going to have solar panels at this church. I mean, that's a marvelous thing. And drive around to a lot of UU churches and you'll find that nobody has made that great leap forward to actually doing this, because it costs resources and money and people's attention, and you're doing it. Well, that's a reflection that you treat your beliefs and values as something real and not just an ephemeral thing that you can be indifferent to, that you care about what you're doing. A lot of things were done last year to prepare the ground for what is coming. What is coming is a new settled minister. And you are in great shape for that, or you are heading more and more toward that place of being a very solid, desirable place to be. You are solid financially in terms of your leadership, in terms of your organization. It's all systems go and getting better every month, and you are prepared for the future that will be here when a new settled minister gets here. Another thing that's wonderful is this year you're not going to have a lot of competition, by which I mean there aren't a lot of churches in this area or around Philadelphia who are competing churches. I shouldn't use the word compete to talk about churches, but I know in the search process that is a reality, and you are really in good shape for that, and that is great. And you have the intrinsic great values that will attract people to you. Now let's think for a moment about how important you are, how important this place is. Let's think about that for a moment to grasp how important it is that we have this thing called church and a congregation. It is, to consider two things, a place of radical acceptance and radical hospitality. Please think of that for a moment. Please let it sink into you that this is a place where no matter what you believe or who you love or what your beliefs are or your lack of beliefs are, you are welcome here. And you're welcome here because you're a human being. And because we are all on this common quest to figure out what it means to be a good human being, a full human being, a whole human being in this society of strife and chaos and difficulty and division. Just think of it for a moment that we are a place of radical acceptance. That we say to each and all, you are accepted because you're a human being. You don't have to be anything special. You don't have to believe anything to be okay. You don't have to believe this or that thing to be okay. You don't have to be this type of person or that type of person. You are okay. You are loved as you are, for what you are, with no strings attached. And we are an institution in society that's dedicated to that proposition and those propositions. It is a place, we are a place where love is at the center. It is a place where we strive to understand what does it mean to be a human being? What does it mean to raise a child in a way that is good for them and good for society? It is a place committed explicitly to justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, generosity, all centered and powered by love. Someone a few moments ago said, what do they hope for? And they said growth. If people understood that there was a community dedicated to the things that I just mentioned, do you believe that they might be interested in being here? I think so. I think that we have to get less shy about saying to others, you know, this might be an interesting place for you to be. And we are a place that come together freely. There's a person that's really trying to call me really bad, but I've silenced my phone. I've done the best. So we are a place that do this freely. Nobody is coercing anybody to be here, to bring their children here. We are, I'm trying to say, a very important institution, and I hope we can all be aware about that. There's another reason why I am wildly optimistic about your future. It's not just because you are very well suited to meet the moment of your future minister and to work together into the future, but I am optimistic about the political drift of things in this country, because I believe this country is on the cusp of entering into a completely new era in which the needs of ordinary people are put front and center. I believe that after a long, long time of difficulty and strife, we are heading to a country that's based more on the political and social values that really matter. So you here who are gathered at this moment are here at sort of a magical moment, I think, looking for a new settled minister at a very good time, in very good conditions. But let me say that your faith and your hope, practiced, not just held inside, are needed and in abundance. The faith and hope of everyone here is needed. Things just don't happen magically. People in this congregation, I hope you all understand how important this time is for your church and for its future. This time is an important time for people to show up and get engaged. This is a church of the people, by the people, for the people. You make it happen. I ask you to make it happen and to meet the moment. I ask you to get involved to the extent that you are able and to stay involved. I invite you to realize the contribution that each of you can make to the great tapestry that is this church. When you get a new settled minister, that person is going to bring their own style, their own interests, their own special skills and commitment to ministry. And it will not be a repeat of the past. It will not be a rehashing of the past. And it is important for you to understand that. It will not be a recycling of everything that's happened before into a new form. And it is important for you to be ready for that you be receptive to that, and that you are open to that, because the best thing that could happen to you is a mixture of the radically new and the best of what is old. Now, let us all consider all of this. Everything I've talked about, everything that you have, everything that is now possible for you at this magical moment is because people in the past who were members here cared enough to make it possible for this place to be here, whether through their efforts in committees or on boards, or whether through their generosity of giving. And so I want us to have a moment where we acknowledge those people from the past, or people who perhaps were members here but have gone somewhere else, who you know made it possible for this place to exist. And so I'm asking each of you to just call out the name, as you feel so moved, of someone you know who made a contribution to this congregation in the past to make it what it is right now. You can see from just these few moments how many names bubble up in the memory of people who gave a lot to make this place possible. And everything we're doing now is built upon the shoulders of what they did. But now it is your time. It is your day. It is now your church, and it is your future, and you alone, collectively and individually, will choose your future. I would be remiss, however, if in closing, I failed to note that we are also affected by the context we live in, and our context is that the coming election we are facing brings with it the possibility of the diminishment or severe detriment of our democracy should one candidate with autocratic aspirations prevail. So I ask you to get involved in the social justice efforts of this congregation over the next several months and to engage with it in the fullest of your ability. Faith and hope are needed and in abundance to make possible the wonderful potentials of this congregation. Faith that our fondest vision of the future may prevail, and hope that what we envision can come true. And may we all work to make faith and hope